What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Day Trading Show. Today, James and I discuss why is trading psychology so difficult to master. We go into some tactics, some techniques. We give away some really good resources. So sit back and enjoy today's episode.
What's up, guys? My name is James, and I'm here with my co-host, Austin Silva, and we're here for another episode of the Day Trading Show. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about why trading psychology is so tough to master or get better at each and every single day. We're going to talk about a couple of guys that we found that we got inspiration from, learn some lessons from, and just, be able to learn and grow from each and every single trader every single day via the internet, via books, different types of resources. So welcome, Austin, and look forward to this episode.
Bro, I love the intro when you do it. It's so much more formal than when I do it. How's everything going for you, bro? I'm looking forward to the topic. I think that this will be good.
Yeah, no, everything's going well on my side. I know you had your yoga, you almost finished your yoga course, right?
Yeah, yoga teacher training is almost done, and very, very excited to get my weekends back, bro, because 2 weekends a month now, like 15 hours I'm at the studio, so it'll be nice to have that back. But I am sure. I do like the program. I do like all the yoga that we're doing, so it's been good. I know you were out playing golf this weekend, so now we're back. It's Monday morning, we're trading. Did you have any trades this morning on your stream on ASFX TV?
No, so I was watching. Today was so on ASFX TV this morning, our stream on Mondays and Wednesdays live during the London session. So this morning, it was a bit of a choppy morning. We had so I'm only really trading GU, GJ, and the 3 US indexes, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P. We had a big rally yesterday on Friday, which kind of messed up in our indicators that we use, the L50, right? The market sentiment intraday on the 15-minute chart, which is where I find my bias and where Austin finds his bias mainly on the 50 minutes, was saying that it was predominantly buying opportunities today, but the high time frames are still predominantly very, very short bias. So no real great no entries I would take on the stream. I did have just slow. I had one entry that marked up on GU. I think it went like 0.5 R and then just turned around. So good. We spoke about on the stream about letting Jerome and Tom were on there with me. We were having a discussion on there about how to a bit letting winners, when you take a win, but then it ends up going like 5-6 R, but you only got out at say 2 R. We spoke about that, which obviously happens a lot to me because I'm out mostly at 2 R. So it was a good discussion, even with the slow market conditions. I know you just got off your stream now, and we were watching the New York Stock Exchange open. What's your thoughts on the market conditions at the moment?
Well, I think it's still definitely in a bear market. Bitcoin's down 5.5% today. So overall, still short bias. But I think on days like after a Friday rally in a bear market, you got to come into today and be careful. So I think it was smart of you to be cautious. But it is interesting that you guys were discussing the topic of you taking 1 R or 2 R from a move that goes 5 or 6 R. So why don't we just jump in with that? Because that goes right into today's topic. So how, over the years now that you've growing into this guy who is known as like snagging and bagging your trades, 1 R, 2 R, you're in and you're out very quickly. And I think a lot of people admire you for that. So how are you okay with not being in those trades that end up ripping 5, 6, 7 R? Like, how do you not care? What allows you to not worry about that?
I think it's just obviously, it's like a developmental growth, right? It changes. So in the beginning, I was always trying to be in those trades for like 5, 6 R, and I'll be like, shit, man, I missed money. It went lower or whatever. But I think as I've grown, and I used to get a lot of slack from guys in the ASFX groups, like, but that's good. You guys pushing me to be better, to hold my trades and that. But I think I was speaking on the stream today and actually tweeted something today about it's being grateful. So how I see it is like, cool, the trade went 2 R. I made money on the day, whether I made 1% on the day or I could have made 3%, for example, just putting percentage numbers out there.
Sure.
I think that you still got to be grateful that what you didn't lose, you won. So at the end of the day, that money you didn't have in your trading account before, but now you got it, you won the trade. And I think it's just being grateful, and those singles add up. What I learned from you, if you're doing it daily, and I always refer to this, I might have referred to it in one of our episodes in the past, but it was in about April 2020. I'd been with you guys for about 4 or 5 months at that stage. and you spoke about you guys have no idea what 1% of $100,000 means, what 1% of $200,000 means. And when your trading capital gets up, those percentages change. You don't need to be making 5R, because you can be the 5R that you had to get in the past, you could make 1R and make the same amount of money. So I think it's just being grateful and getting those singles, as you also said on that market recap on the Facebook when you did it for our VIP Discord guys. You said that Derek Jeter is one of the greats, not because he used to hit the most home runs, but because he used to get on first base most of the time. He always used to get on first base, get those singles, and that's what made him great.
Yeah. So great gratitude is where you find the release of the FOMO, where you don't fear that you're missing out on a move. That's interesting. Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. I was going to say too, what I think you do well is you walk away from the trading desk often after you trade, especially if you come into London, you hit a trade and then you leave for the day. You don't come back and trade New York most of the time that day. And if you do, you just watch. But I notice sometimes you just go and play golf. You just, there could be more moves, but there also could be more losers, I feel like, is your perspective. So you'd rather just leave and not lose and give back the win. Is that true?
So this is a great point. I was actually documenting this today in my daily report card, is that what I found in the past is that I think this is what also propelled me to be able to, just stack up gains over time, is that what would happen is I'd win in the morning and then I'd come back in the afternoon or come back later on. Let's say I made 0.5% in the morning, right? And during the London session, I'd come back in the afternoon and I would see a trade, and we've all been there. It's when you tell yourself, I'm not trading again today, but you're there at the desk and you're like, but this looks so nice. And you end up taking a loss and you erase the gains basically in the day break even. But if you just come back the next day, done that same, take a nice read in the morning, be up again, another 0.5, that's, you have 1% now instead of being back at break even, right?
Sure.
So I think also it's very easy on your trading psychology, because let's say I come back the next day and I have a loss. It's easier because I followed my rules. But if I come back the afternoon, I lose, then you wanting to maybe take another trade. It becomes very mentally tormenting on your trading psychology. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Because you've told yourself you're not doing something, and now you've done it, and now you've given back gains, and it becomes in this cycle. Whereas if you just relax and okay, cool, I've done well, I've had a nice read today, I've made my profits, let me come back tomorrow, do the same thing over. It's a lot more stress-free.
Do you think that was because I feel like for you, as I've watched you grow, that was like the first major thing that you checked box, where you were like, I'm going to just manage my trades this way. I don't really care what other people are doing. So do you think that another product of this, leave the desk, avoid FOMO thing, is that you don't follow a lot of other people, and on social media, you don't look at what a lot of other traders are doing? Do you think that plays a part in it too?
100%. So before I joined you, so for the guys that haven't watched the beginning of our trading episodes, and I really encourage you to do so, because it talks about also our journey and that's in our trading and that sort of thing. So, but for the guys that haven't, I was trading with other people in the beginning of my trading career, and I used to follow a lot of the guys on Instagram and social media and that sort of thing, and seeing them take their trades and whatever and posting up their trades. And I used to be like, okay, well, if they're in that trade, I must be in that trade. You know what I'm saying? Whereas now I only follow you and the other guys that work closely with and that we work closely with in ASFX. And it just makes it so much more mentally relieving, because I'm like, well, I don't really care what anybody else is doing. I know that Austin and Tom and the guys in the BSC, they're going to propel me to be the best version of myself. It doesn't matter what Joe's doing on the other side of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I think another thing to go off of who you follow being important, and still on topic of why trading psychology is so hard, is I think people make trading psychology and the mental game of trading harder than it needs to be, because they don't study the right people. They don't study successful traders. And I feel like something you've done, again, another compliment to you over the last 2 years, is you've turned off those people that were not benefiting you, stop following them on social media, stop listening to them, consuming anything they said. And instead you've been reading and listening to more trading books and trading podcasts than ever. I feel like you share them all the time. So I think that it's, trading psychology is difficult on its own, but at least you can study success and learn the tactics that work, and then try to duplicate that for yourself. You know what I mean?
100%. And I think that comes to you and your guidance on showing me who to actually listen to, who's actually telling, being authentic in the trading world, like guys like Steve Burns, Tom Basso, S&B Capital, those type of guys, because they're actually showing authenticity in their trading and putting out the stuff that is not just posting blue profits on their MetaTrader 4, right? That's some bullshit.
Exactly.
But so I think that's what, like, I'm so grateful for you and the guys in ASFX, because without that, I would not be sitting here 100%. I can say that confidently. But another thing, just another one I wanted to say as well is what I've being a very since I was young, I've been very, very competitive. So I played professional rugby for 3 years here in Durban, South Africa. I've always been competitive, but competitive against other people in rugby. You got to compete against other people for positions and so forth. But in trading, what I've realized, and this is also a consistent, it's always by the guys that we follow, and that it's consistent, is you're not competing against anyone else but yourself. So I need to be better so I'm literally competing against myself. If I fucked up last week, I'm not going to make that same fuck up. I'm going to be better. I'm going to improve. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make sure that is my work on for this week. And that's what I love about trading.
I think that's another reason why trading is difficult and why psychology in general is difficult, because it requires people to be self-aware and self-assess themselves in ways that, force them to get to the decisions and the conclusions that we've kind of talked about already. One of them being like how you just trade your strategy and you take your 1-2R and you move on. You don't care what other people are doing. Do you think that there's enough good resource? Like, what are some of the good resources that you could name for people that are looking to dive deeper into understanding how to mentally make the decisions that you've already started to make? Now, no one wants to say they're perfect, and I would say neither of us are perfect traders. That's just not.
No, if that was the case, we'd be managing tens of millions of dollars.
Right. So I think, we're just trying to share our experience, but if you could speak on that, maybe like some of the resources that you have found beneficial in understanding your own way of thinking to then better decide, hey, I'm doing this. This is what's best for me. I don't care what anybody else is doing. What gave you the confidence? What sources of information gave you the facts to trust?
Sure. So obviously, first of all, I will say I found you, so that your YouTube channel speaks about these. And
good answer. Good answer.
Yeah, check. No, but on the real note though, that your channel is really, really, I think you cover a great variety of topics on trading psychology. So that's the first one that I found. Then when I actually joined you guys, and I was like, okay, cool, and then I started managing a bit of private investor capital and that sort of thing. And I started to make good money.
Right.
I started to watch S&B Capital. They are a great source of thing, because what I realized is that, Shark and those guys, and I started to realize, shit, these guys are making millions of dollars a year doing this as a career. That's when it clicked. And I was like, there's other people out there not posting MT4 profits and all that without even posting the value, what goes into trading, that this is actually a career. It's not a little Mickey Mouse thing. It's actually, you can do this as a career and you can make millions of dollars doing it. So S&B Capital, that's for another one. Another person who actually recently, I don't know if he's been like, maybe because of the upstart thing, he took a toll on his ego or something like that, but he's been posting some good stuff lately. Is Mark Minervini on Twitter. I think obviously, and also the thing is, he's got the rep to do it. He's been a US investing champion twice. Literally last year. So I think and I actually just want to read a quote about him. Just what we were talking about earlier. I read this on the stream on ASFX TV this morning. He says here, never judge a trader or a strategy by how much they make. Judge them by how much they give back. Many traders are up huge when they have a tailwind and their approach is in favor. Then they give it back and the outperformance turns into underperformance and often non-performance. So I think that goes a lot with what we were actually just saying about walking away from the desk. You had a good win, come back tomorrow. Don't try and force it, So he's another one. And then obviously you've got your Mark Douglas's, his books on things, Mark Bellafiore from S&B Capital, the One Good Trade, the playbook. So there's a lot of good, I think that's how many people 4 or 5 people that are named there. I think those are really, really great starting points to learn from in trading psychology.
For sure. The Mark Douglas, trading psychology, like YouTube videos, they're like old, but they're really good too. I was rewatching one of those recently. It was really, really good. Yeah, those are all good resources. And I think too, like now you've seen the value in creating a more educational timeline on Twitter too, of like following more reliable people on Twitter, some of the people that you mentioned, and then even beyond that, people that they work with, people that they follow, because then you're trusting their sources of information that they're sharing, and that goes deeper. I would recommend Mindset, it's a book by Carol Dweck. It's a really, really good book, Understanding a Fixed Mindset versus a Growth Mindset, because I think a lot of trading psychology issues remain issues for people because they're resistant to change. So if you're resistant to change, you're kind of living in that fixed mindset. And that book really highlights how you can shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, and how you can question yourself in every situation along the way to challenge yourself to say, am I thinking in a growth mindset or from a fixed point of view? So that's a good one. I would say another good book for more of like the self-transformation, the self-understanding, the 4 agreements. I'm working on a webinar right now with Tom. Me and Tom are going to be running a how to think like a winning trader webinar. And that's one of the books that I'm going to be recommending on that webinar, because I think it drops the expectation of life. And a lot of the times we create negative emotions and responses because of expectations. So in our trading, that's a huge thing. If you can start to overcome, again, we're talking about why trading psychology is hard, because you can't overcome these big human DNA hurdles that we have. But with proper understanding and then studying books and different perspectives, you can definitely start to do it. And I think that's the sweet spot where you can then say, look, I am starting to master trading psychology. We've mentioned ASFX TV a couple of times already. For those of you that don't know, I'll put a link in the description wherever you're watching or listening. Me, James, Tom, Dennis, and Jerome right now, there's 5 of us streaming our live trading, back testing, swing trading sessions, all different types of stuff all week long. So if you want to check that out, it's asfx.tv, www.asfx.tv. You get a 3-day free trial. Come in, check it out. You can rewatch all the previous streams. There's a whole content library, so you can really see how we operate in the live market. James's perspective, my perspective, all based on the same systems that we teach in the course. So it's very valuable. I'm actually thinking for the webinar offer for that webinar, we're going to give people a month free of ASFX TV. So then you buy the course, you watch the courses, and you come trade with us and see it implemented. Yeah, I think that's going to be a really valuable way to see a good way to implement the education in the course, you know?
The reason why I think ASFX TV brings so much value is because we practice what we preach. A lot of people do something, but they don't actually practice it. So practice what you preach, you know? I just wanted 100%. To mention another thing. So another great book to read when I first got into trading, and you put me onto this, is The 12 Habits of Successful Traders by Ruth Roosevelt. And then I also wanted to make another statement was, well, the reason why I think trading psychology is so, it's like a continuous battle, if you want to call it improvement, is that you don't overcome something like, oh, I'm greedy. Oh, yes, let me work on it for this 2 months, and then I'm not greedy anymore. It's not like that. Like, it's a continuous work on. That's why I think trading, why I love trading, is because one day you can feel fine, you can do everything, and then the next day you'll be like, I want more, I'm greedy, let me take this trade. You know, you think you're going to win every single trade you put money on. 100%. So I think that's why trading like psychology can be tough too.
And I also think trading psychology gets harder with no focus. So you need to do things that increase your ability to focus, because if you stay focused, you'll make the proper trading decisions more likely than going off tilt. So I think that goes into like sleeping enough, eating the right foods, doing things like for your brain that actually like are good for it, like not smoking cigarettes, and like trying to meditate is a great way to help your brain perform better. Like I've been doing push-ups before I start trading. So I meditate and I do push-ups just to get more blood flow in my brain, because I think that is proven now with enough science to help us make better decisions. So I think, and that comes from the increased blood flow, increased focus. So I think focus is a big thing that people are not paying enough attention to. We don't know how to focus. We think we know how to multitask, even though when you're multitasking, you're really just doing a bunch of things half-assed, not that well. You're like half holding your phone, half driving the car. You're not really doing multiple things.
I'm bad at that, bro.
Yeah. So we don't know how to focus. Like I feel like our generation, it doesn't have the capacity to focus on one thing for a long time. We get bored of things quickly and we want to move on. So I think in trading, you need to be aware of that you're quick to say, you know, this train of thought that I had that got me into this trade, now here's a reason why I should get out of this train of thought. Very quickly, you're willing to just bounce on an idea that you spent 2 hours building this morning, something like that. So you have to be aware of these human, like I said, like they're DNA hurdles, like they're built into our biology. And if we can be aware of them, we can make different decisions. But it all is, I think, rooted in better mindfulness, better awareness, right? Because if you're more aware of your thoughts, you can control the reactions that you take to those thoughts more. You don't have to stop feeling the feelings. It sucks to lose. It's sad when somebody dies. Like these feelings, you should feel them, but you don't have to go act on a decision because of the feeling. Those impulsive reactions, like when someone, you know, breaks up with someone and the person slaps them, right? Like those reactions are what we're trying to eliminate in our trading. And with mindfulness, you won't just reactionary Will Smith go slap somebody. Walk 60 feet and go slap somebody. That's so stupid. And that's why that's why everyone was calling it set up, because reactions happen much faster than that. He took a long ass walk up there. I'm talking about those quick reactions when you're when you're in a trade and it starts to turn around on you and you want to get out because you're scared, but your trading plan doesn't give you a reason to get out yet because there's no exit yet. Those reactions to get out too soon end up causing you to lose money and not make as much money because you miss out on good trades because you've talked yourself out of it. So focus, I think a lot of 100%. It is the issue. Yeah.
Well, so I want to ask you a question. What I know you started your trading journey when you're still studying, right? In 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Yep. What was the big changing point in your trading, in your own trading psychology, in your trading journey, specifically trading psychology wise, that made you go from inconsistent to consistent?
I mean, it's definitely rooted in a lot of what we've talked about. Like, being humble enough to just take what you can get from winning trades and not give back profits and not marry losers, right? I think that was a big thing. One of the biggest issues that I had was I would move my stop loss because I would want to be right more than I'd want to just get out of a losing trade. And then once I realized like taking the loss was okay, just take the loss and then find a better trade, make the money back kind of thing. That's the better perspective rather than, no, this has to be right. This has to be right. That just runs you up. It really burns your account out. It doesn't run you up anywhere, it runs up the wall, I was going to say, but yeah. So I think that, but then to your point, like it's always a work in progress. Like you just said, like, I still feel like I'm working on, now I'm trying to hold my winning trades while still mitigating risk. And I'm learning how to do that better. So it's like, there's always something to be working on. I think it's like I just made a point before about mindfulness and awareness. It's about being aware of what do you need to work on? Where are your weaknesses? Where are your strengths? And what can you improve upon in those two areas? A lot of the time at this point in my trading, bro, I don't focus on improving weaknesses. Like my ability to use a Fibonacci tool is probably very low compared to how some people think it is, but I don't care because it has no impact on my trading. You know what I mean? So I'm not really worried about improving that weakness. I'm worried about what's a strength that I can go improve instead,
Yep, for sure. There's also something I also wanted to touch on, and this on trading psychology, is that trading can be a very, very lonely endeavor, a high performance activity, if you want to call it sport for others. I like looking at it as a sport. But one thing that, because it can be a very lonely endeavor, I think getting a group of like-minded people and being involved in a community takes a lot of that loneliness and pressure off, because if you have a loss and you have no one to talk to about it, it can eat up you mentally. Like I know the other day you were like, and I need to get better at this. When I fuck up, I need to put on a group and say, listen, I messed this up, and do it, because you messaged me the other day and said you skunked the trade.
Bro. You just got to not run from your mistakes, because if you run from them, you will repeat them. But if 100%. You address your mistakes, you won't repeat them as much, and then just keep addressing it until you stop repeating it.
Exactly. Yep. No, 100%. So a community is a big one, in that you have people to talk to and hold you accountable is also another one. I think that takes off a lot of pressure of some trading psychology flaws.
Yeah. 100%. I think two people, there's a line in trading. It's like, do you care so much that you're so picky and then you never trade and you're like trying to be so meticulous with everything? Or do you care so little that you just over leverage, oversize, and throw all the money around? There's these two ends of the extreme, and everyone's trying to find that balance in between of how much should I care about my trading. And I think trading psychology gets easier to master when you care more, a little bit more, like 60% care, not 50%, 50-50 in the middle. Go to 60% care. Not like you care so much that you're never going to take a trade because you're overly picky, but enough that you care that you're going to study and try to improve every day. Because if you do that, everyone that sticks into this business for 10 years normally ends up making money. It's just about who's going to stay at it every day for 10 years, 5 years. I think, honestly, if you get a mentor, I think it's like 3 years in, you've now become pretty well established, I would say. Like, you're managing large portions of money, you know how to trade, you don't trade off edge normally. And like, I think that that's the mark, but that's because we worked closely together. It took me longer because I didn't have anybody to work with. So I think 3 to 5 years, if you make it 5 years, you're probably going to be able to do it for a longer period of time. And especially
Yeah,
right now, bro, like you got to be so grateful. All these people now coming up in the trading world, like they got these funding companies that just giving out people money, bro. That wasn't a thing back in the day. So it's like
100%.
it's such a
Yeah.
rare opportunity to be around and be able to take advantage of that capital. Like it really gives
Yep.
the everyday person an opportunity to show if they can master trading psychology and if they can do it, you know?
100%, bro. I think we're living in a great time where the opportunities are just endless, and you got to just be grateful for them and just carry on working. Because if you have the skill, you become the asset, and if you become the asset, you just money will come to you in
Bro,
abundance.
we need the bomb sound right there. That's the we can end right on that, bro. That was perfect. So for everybody listening, watching, we appreciate you guys. We hope that you found some value in today's video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on Discord, whatever we need. Twitter. Me and James are always on Twitter. Just make sure you DM the right us. You know, we've got our links down below for you guys to get in touch with us. James, appreciate you, bro. Great job on the intro. Great conversation today. Until next time, brother.
Perfect. Cheers, bro.